East Side Sauce, episode 1, bringing you guys some quarantine content. I'm Jack Woods.
And I'm JB Fuston, your hosts here on the East Side Sauce podcast.
So these first few episodes gonna be a little scuffed till we get our groove going. But JB, how's quarantine been?
Coronacation is a solid 7 out of 10, not gonna lie. No schoolwork that I've done. There's definitely been some assigned, but been showing out, vibing. Kind of bored to be honest, but it's going. What about you, Jack?
Pretty good. I mean, dude, some of these teachers, like, they're on vacation too. You don't gotta assign your classes at 8:30 in the morning.
I just think it's funny when you get the Khan Academy notification that says 200 assignments have been assigned. So no big
Yeah,
deal, but it's kind of annoying.
yeah, it really has. I have like 50 math assignments due, a bunch of science stuff. Just been really boring.
Apparently none of it's graded for the first week-ish though, so it should be pretty chill.
But Maryland can't grade anything. All right, more on Corona. So first off, to any listeners out there, we hope you're all safe at home. Do social distancing.
Yeah, of course, don't
Don't
paddle.
go outside. Um, yeah, hopefully you all have your masks and you're not hoarding them. Bro,
Put in your
I saw this
Sherman.
video. Yeah, I saw this video where this on Twitter, this dude, he was like, you know how the like you're supposed to use the N like 95?
And now, yeah, the surgical or the
They
specifically
he
for
had
like
like 20 masks and he was using like a spray and he was like showing like so you could see the particles,
yeah.
like to see how much actually made it through the masks. And for like most of them, it just went straight through like it was nothing there.
I think I read somewhere that those N95 masks needs to be like specifically fitted or something too. I'm
They
not
need to be
100%
fitted,
sure,
and
but
also like if you have any facial hair, so anyone with like a beard or mustache, it doesn't work at all because it needs like an airtight
it needs an
seal.
airtight seal, right?
Yeah.
Tesla's stepping up with those ventilators. What was it?
Yeah, I
Six
saw they had a
kilowatts,
video
I
out
think.
on YouTube. Yeah.
That's pretty.
So like
That's that's pretty impressive to be honest with you, because they obviously don't make ventilators. But
yeah,
I guess
they were
that.
saying like
Go ahead.
most of the stuff they're making is they're using it like from the car parts.
Yeah, because they have
That's
the
what I heard.
HEPA air filters in the Model X's, right? Or is it in all of them?
Yeah. X. Yeah.
It'd be nice to have one of those right now. You could be rolling around with no problems.
Yeah.
Please don't do that.
Yeah, I think it's cool seeing all the support that like uh people with like richer people have been. And like I'm seeing all the tweets of people when they're like just Jeff Bezos donated money,
Right.
Bill Gates donated money. And I'm so sick of seeing the people who are complaining about it. Because
Oh yeah. They're
like
like,
people are like,
this is the
he
equivalent of
donated
$100.
$100 million, but like that's nothing.
They're
What I
comparing.
don't think people understand, they're
It's still
comparing it to their net worth.
$100 million. Yeah, that's like.
Yeah, but also like I think you told me or someone's like your net worth doesn't amount to how much money you actually have access to.
Yeah, no. Some of those
What's your worth?
it's based on the value you bring and the value you've accrued over your years. So it's not like Jeff Bezos has
Exactly.
however many billions of dollars he's worth chilling in a Swiss bank somewhere. He's got assets, as I'm sure, there's a bunch in his house and cars and all that stuff. And I'm pretty sure that includes
Yeah,
the value of the stake he holds in Amazon. So it's not like
as shareholder and boardman and all that.
right, it's not like he can just donate up $100 billion and be good. And $100 million is it's a lot of freaking money, no
Yeah,
matter who
it's
it comes from.
huge amount of money.
Right.
Also, I saw in China one really cool thing is since no one's allowed outside because it's still a problem over there,
Right.
they're using drones to disinfect like public areas.
So they just
So
like
they're
put
using
traps
like
on drones and fly them drones
yeah,
around.
they're straight up just putting like huge Lysol sprayers on the bottom of drones and just like flying them around parks and like community squares and all that to disinfect the whole place.
It's kind of impressive to be honest with you.
It really is.
One
It's
of the
cool. And then
problems is
it's
they
like
don't know how long the virus can last on surfaces and in the air and everything. So it's a lot of question marks.
yeah. And one conversation I was having with my family today is so they're saying that it should hopefully all be done by summertime. But then there's 2 sides to the argument of this, like, how long do you think it's gonna take for people to, like, go back to being normal? Do you think that people like, once the government says it's okay to go outside, do you think, like, everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, this is awesome, it's great, everyone's outside," or do you think it's gonna take a few months for everyone to, like, no one's gonna shake my hand till
Yeah, I bet you it's gonna be
next
forever.
February?
A YouTuber I watch, Mark Robert, he's he goes viral
Yeah.
whenever he makes a video, but he was saying that
Mhm.
he hopes that fist bumps become the new norm. I mean, it's not a bad idea.
Yeah. Fist bump, you got the elbow bump, the little foot bump.
I'm not too mad about it now. I'm kind of mad because it canceled lacrosse season, but I'd be really mad because me and my dad were planning to go to the Motley Crue concert in August, I think it
Yeah.
is. But if that gets canceled, I'm gonna be pissed. That's the only
I
real
was
effect that I've seen so far is lacrosse season.
yeah, I was supposed to be in Alaska all of last week up until this week, and then but the connecting flight went straight through Seattle.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so we had to cancel that, and then they shut down the resort, like, halfway through where our trip would have been, so we would have just been stuck in Anchorage,
Yeah, Anchorage is
which
not. It's not
wouldn't be
much to
that
do
bad,
there.
but
It's
yeah,
beautiful up there.
not much.
Not a bad
Yeah.
time to live in Alaska.
Oh,
Yeah. So, what about you, Jack? How has the quarantine affected you? Just been stuck inside the house, or what?
yeah, I mean, just Netflix, reading, there's not much to do,
Did you watch the Tiger
which
King?
no, I haven't watched Tiger King yet.
I can't
Have
bring
you?
myself to watch it. He looks like such an
You
idiot.
can't.
He
Yeah,
looks
it's
like
just
so
been a lot of
crazy.
in yeah, it's just been a lot of inside time, but it's so weird because, like, across the street, there's a park, and I've seen more people out there now than I've seen before people are telling you, "You have to stay
Right.
inside."
It's because they nobody wants to do it when they're being told to do it. They put caution tape all around the parks in my neighborhood because I'm pretty sure
Driving through, like,
state
all the
mandated closures. Yeah.
fast food, like McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, Wendy's, all of them, all their, like, the seating inside has all been, like, put on the tables, and they've taped it all up
Yeah.
so no one can sit in there when
Yeah.
we drive through and all that.
It's making it very hard for me to get my weekly Chipotle burrito. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, so they said essential businesses stay open. Do you know, like, how they categorize it as an essential business?
I think it's gas stations, grocery stores. Um, I think like liquor stores are still open too for some reason.
Oh,
I'm not 100% sure about anything else other than those three things, but I
yeah,
know that.
I guess it's just like all food businesses have to stay open, and
Right.
then anything that you need.
Well, the initial round of shutdowns a couple weeks ago, I guess, was what sit down restaurants, bars, gyms, and movie theaters.
That was anything with like large gatherings where people would like conjugate, they had to shut down.
Right. Um.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously the stay
I
at home.
all I'm thinking about though is like, do you think we're like over the bump yet? Because I was saying like I was watching the news last night and they're saying like this week's gonna be the worst of the worst that they think. But I'm still wondering, like, every day I'm like checking, like cases are doubling almost every day. Like I think the United States just hit 10,000 deaths yesterday,
Right.
and that's still climbing.
Terrible.
And cases doubled from yesterday. So I wonder, like, what's it going to look like at the end of this week? And then do you think it's going to start to decrease after that?
I I'm not sure. I think with the way the statistics usually play out, um, in a logistical growth is once you start seeing the same number of cases every day for a decent amount of time, you're about halfway through it. Um, and as it's still growing, don't think that we're I don't think that we're over the peak yet. I think we still got more to come, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, even once the cases start going down, it's still like the effects of it are still going to be going because stock market's still
Right.
going down, or
Yeah.
it's recovering a little, but that's still going to go down. Businesses are going to stay closed. Um,
Well, plus
the
the shrinking
summer's going to be
population.
weird.
A bunch of people's grandparents, maybe even parents, are probably starting to feel the effects of this. And
Yeah.
seen in Italy that the people like the average age of cases or whatever has come down a lot, so it's gonna start affecting other people soon too.
Yeah, I've heard that people like in 20s and younger 30s, they're starting to get infected when they thought the initial was like 65 and up.
Well, it's really weird because you can be like a carrier, I guess, but not be showing symptoms,
Like
but you can still have
symptomatic,
it,
yeah.
which is another wrench in the system. There's no really way for us to deal with that either, other than obviously self-distancing and staying at home.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty cool to see how school systems in particular have figured out ways to keep schools open. Well, not open, but keep the
Keep
kids.
learning going, like keep learning. And then it was also raising that like Zoom overnight became huge. Like everyone had to start using Zoom.
Yeah, I'd never
But
heard of
then
it before.
I I'd never heard of Zoom.
Right.
I was reading yesterday that like some of the same privacy concerns that people were having with Facebook, they're now having with Zoom.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I heard about that. Well, it's not even
Um,
privacy concerns. It's
yeah, just
the idiots that go to our schools just joining other people's Zoom calls.
but
It's pretty
it's even bigger than that. Like Zoom, they're in a lawsuit for selling information to Facebook.
selling information to Facebook or like Facebook did.
Yeah,
That's just I don't know. I
Berg,
I haven't
he gets you from anywhere.
ever. So what do you like? Have you used it at all, Jack?
He used it the first week of um we used it 2 weeks ago, but now it's just Google Meet solely.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Same for us.
It's still probably collecting all your information, but yeah,
Google already knows everything. It doesn't matter.
yeah.
I wonder. Um, have you seen the graph for people filing for unemployment? Like since like the 1800s or something? It's crazy.
It's insane.
It's
It's just
going
it's going
slowly,
up.
slowly down, and then it spikes, and during the Great Depression, obviously, and then in the 2008 recession, and then it just shoots up. Like it's
Yeah.
literally off the charts. It's not good.
Mhm. I will say if there's any good that's come out of this, people have been saying it's like it was kind of a wake up call
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because like I don't know if you saw Bill Gates was on a TED talk where he talked about how like we're not ready as a civilization for the next pandemic.
He was talking about that a while ago,
And
wasn't he?
yeah, and I think this just goes to show kind of like how unprepared we were because the last major outbreak was like of like global pandemic was 70 plus years ago. So
Spanish
no
flu.
one, yeah, that was like mid,
Yeah,
was that early
early
1900s, I think.
early 1900s, I think. I'll look it up.
Yeah. Just remember like no one who's young or able-bodied nowadays was old enough back then to like live it. So it's just kind of a wake-up call that these things do happen and we need to be prepared for it. And
Definitely.
if this taught us anything, it's that we're not prepared for it. I mean,
According
it
to
took,
Wikipedia, uh, the Spanish flu is a type of H1N1, and it was really bad 1918 through 1920. But I know that H1N1 came back in like 2008, 2009, I think.
yeah.
It's kind of hard to prepare for a virus or an outbreak like this because you can't really. There's no one plan that covers everything because a lot of the
Yeah, and
treatments and the
it's
tests and
different every
everything.
time because
Right.
what uh like African countries did for the Ebola outbreak, you can't do for this because it's a completely different virus. Like
Right.
this is respiratory, that was through blood and fluid.
Yeah, it was bodily fluids. It's a lot.
Yeah, so every time something like this comes around, it's completely different.
Yeah, I think that viruses like Zika and Ebola getting people freaked out kind of lulled us into a false sense of security because everybody got super freaked out about Ebola and Zika, and like it never really got that bad. Obviously, its effects were large and terrible, but there's a million cases of the coronavirus worldwide. I don't think either of those diseases got to a million cases.
I think
Um,
Ebola was worse than this, but since you said it was a fluid, like it transferred through fluids, it never really came over here. It stayed in
right.
Africa
There was only a
because
couple.
Yeah, there was only a few cases, and those were, like, from doctors.
Right.
But
Uh,
and, like, Zika mainly affected, like,
Pregnant
pregnant
women.
women, so that didn't have effect on, like, the majority of the population. But then this comes around and you, like, hear cases about it in China, and you're like, "It's far away, it's not gonna affect us," and then overnight, I feel like it was overnight almost. Like,
Yeah.
Italy just went down, and then people started to worry about it, and then once it hit Washington, it just spread.
I forgot that Washington was the first state, I guess one of the first states to get infected really badly. I know
I
New York
was
was having problems with it too earlier, but we
Mhm.
didn't even realize it like at school talking to you and other people. We didn't realize it was going to be this bad. I
'Cause I
knew.
remember hearing about it back in, like, December.
Right.
People were talking about it over in China, and then everyone forgot about it, and then, like, late February, it just went all through Europe and then came over here.
Well, it's kind of hard to trust anything that comes out of China, obviously, because of the censorship and dictatorship. But
Yeah.
yeah, we have no clue how long this has been going on for, unless you choose to trust the Chinese government, which might not be the greatest idea.
Mhm. Um, or at least what they're saying is it started back in December of 2019. That's when they're thinking patient 0 was.
Right.
But I
Yeah.
don't know if this news has changed because it's a few weeks old, but they're saying that, um, they don't think patient 0 was in Wuhan. They think it was in a town outside,
And then he brought
and
it into
then
Wuhan.
no, they don't even think he brought it in. They think they gave it to someone else who went to Wuhan. Because they said that they pinpointed where patient 0 was from in Wuhan, but then they
Right.
found out that that person came from a different village,
Right.
and
Right.
then they think that it came here, went there,
That's
and
spread like wildfire. It's crazy. So
yeah.
contagious.
Mhm. Like, the how we're saying how each of these outbreaks is different, like, the way to test it has always been different. Like, every time it comes like, a new virus comes up, you have to have an entirely new procedure of how to attack it, and how to figure out who has it, who doesn't, and how to figure out if they have it.
Right. That's why it's so hard to put systems in place to be prepared for it. I guess you can always stockpile equipment like masks, respirators, and surgical gowns and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's pretty awesome to see. Obviously, the two hospital ships. I believe the
Yeah.
Mercy and the Comfort. I think is what their
Mhm.
names are. I'm not 100% sure. Those things are crazy, but also all of the private companies that have been helping out. I know a bunch of companies are making masks, face shields. It's just crazy to see how quickly we can mobilize and fight a virus. Of course,
Yeah,
there's
that's the good news of this episode, just the huge waves of support that we've been seeing. I saw a baseball company that would make, like, caps and jerseys. They made masks and gowns, but they kept the stripes on, so you can have, like, team support.
oh, it's pretty
So
awesome.
they had, like, Yankees, Orioles,
Right. It'll be. I wonder if nurses will start to know which company's masks are the best. See if they'll show favoritism towards one company or the other.
yeah,
I'm sure
I
they're
know,
not ready for any support at this point, but I don't know.
yeah, yeah, Bauer, I know, they started making face masks.
Yep. I believe Cascade. They make lacrosse equipment, lacrosse helmets. They're making the actual shields, the face shields.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yep.
I do find it kinda weird of how, like, in the beginning stages, they were saying, "Don't wear a mask because it doesn't do anything." I know because, like, the surgical masks, you wear them because it keeps fluids
Yeah, it
and it
protects like
if
splatters.
yeah, and also, like, you're supposed to wear it if you're sick because it doesn't let particles leave, but they can still
Yes,
enter.
surgical masks
So
don't.
that's why they were saying don't wear it. But now it seems I don't know, it's because it's out of control almost, but it seems like they're saying now you should be wearing a mask. I don't know. What do you think the turn of that was? Just
I
extra
guess
protection?
probably a line that was crossed where the the odds of the person that would be listening and choosing to wear a mask would be infected, I guess. But yeah, don't. That's kind of interesting. I didn't really notice that, to be honest with you.
It's like all through March, they were saying like, don't wear a mask unless you're sick.
Right.
And now they're saying like, go outside. You should be wearing a mask. You should have either like a bandana or scarf, just something covering your face.
Covering your mouth, right? It's it's a big deal. Clearly,
This isn't going away anytime soon. That's
there's
for sure.
a lot of famous people that have been infected with it too. Surprisingly, I figured that.
Hanks and his wife were infected
Right.
in Australia. Who else?
Idris Elba. Was he Australian?
Oh yeah, yeah.
He was asymptomatic for a while, wasn't he? Or is he still asymptomatic?
I don't know. I haven't checked. I know. I don't know if I told you. There was a basketball player who had it, and he was contagious during a press conference,
That's no good.
and as a joke, he like touched everyone's mics. Later, he was tested
Tested
positive.
positive. That's not a good look, actually. I don't personally know
Yeah,
anybody with the virus yet, but fortunately, I'm sure it'll happen in the next few weeks or few days.
yeah, and this is like unlike any other thing that we've seen is that you don't have to be sick to be affected by it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like I would be surprised if there's someone who hasn't been affected by it. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, the whole
parents
country's
and
effectively
older
shut
people,
down.
they're out of work. People are on unemployment. Everywhere's closed. You shouldn't be leaving your house.
Right.
Schools are all out. In fact, I heard, it was, I think Idaho or Oklahoma or a different school, like a whole state in the Midwest. They haven't closed schools yet.
They're still having closed schools.
They're
That's
still open, and kids are going every day.
I don't think that's a great idea. Did you hear what happened at Liberty University? They uh they decided it would be a good idea to open up a couple days ago, and already I think as of, like I said, a few days ago, which isn't super helpful considering how fast this is all happening, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
Kids are infected with the virus. It's just
Jeez.
important to socially isolate, stay at home, only go out when you need to.
Yeah, that's I think like the main thing is they have to make sure that they don't open too quickly because I know everyone wants like the country to be back open. People want businesses to get back so they can make money.
Right, obviously.
But I feel
If we
it's
rush into it,
better to be safe than sorry. Like if they rush into this, it's could be worse.
right,
Because as of
obviously.
now, I don't know. Do you know if it's like the flu or smallpox? Do you know if you get it once, can you get it again, or have people been getting it more than once?
I think that they're not 100% sure about that either. The last I heard about it, but yeah, a lot of
I
diseases are like that. You get it once and you're done, but that might not be the case for this. If it comes back to our
heard.
population, that would be
Yeah, I think that I'll look it up. But like that's the worst thing. That's the thing that you don't want to happen is
it's
they
come
open up
back.
all these businesses, these schools too quick. You go back, someone had it, they don't know because it's in that 14-day block, and then you go to your grandparents' house and you get them sick.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people that are encouraging us to reopen the country quickly are they definitely have good intentions, probably, but I just don't think that's a great idea considering how quickly we had to shut down in the first place. How
Uh,
quickly it spread through us.
yeah, I know. I know Italy's trying to get back on its feet, and
Italy,
a few weeks ago they really pushed, and they did it too quick, and then
it's
they
worse
just
now.
went lower. It's worse, yeah.
Italy is not in a good spot considering I think they have
Mm-mm.
the oldest population, average oldest population in Europe.
They have the most fatalities as well. They're at somewhere around like 16,000.
Right. It's kind of depressing stuff to talk about. We gotta find something else, bro. Unfortunately, there's not much else happening. Our schools in Maryland are closed. We're stuck in our houses, not doing anything other than schoolwork, pretty much.
I
I
know.
wonder how this is. Go ahead.
Oh no, go. What are you talking about?
I wonder how this is going to impact like releases of movies, releases of I don't know, new products, cars, phones, stuff like that. Because I know that Top Gun got pushed back to like December, which I'm real
Oh,
pissed about.
did darn it.
Yes, I know, dude.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, companies. I know Apple. They are still pushing through. They're supposed to release. They're they're supposed to have like their WWDC conference this week or next week.
They're gonna do it all
But
virtual.
now I know. Yeah, they're virtual, and also like for the iPad and the MacBook Air 2020 versions, they just released them. They didn't tell anyone. They just
Yeah, yeah, I heard about that. They just let them out there. That's probably best.
these. Yeah, I know movies are all pushed back. Um,
All Apple's stores are closed, right? You have to go. It's all online now.
yeah.
Currently.
hmm One piece of good news is, have you seen the Queen of England? She gave a. It's on BBC's YouTube channel. She had a message to all of England talking about it, and she was saying like, "We will see you again, coronavirus." And everyone's talking about it. It's like, bro, she's if anyone's gonna survive, it's gonna be her. She's immortal.
Everybody already thinks she's immortal. Yeah. How old is she? She's
Yeah,
gotta be
I mean,
80, right?
in her 80s. Yeah, but she was probably alive for Spanish flu.
Spanish, but
She probably saw that. Dude,
yeah, I
she's
mean,
not afraid. She's seen this once.
she's seen this stuff.
It's
When was
back
the
for round
vaccine
two.
first developed?
What?
Because it was for smallpox, right? The first vaccine.
Because wasn't it with the? It was like the milkmaids.
Yeah.
Because that's. Oh wait, no,
Yeah.
that was antibiotics.
1798. Never mind. It was Edward Jenner is considered the founder of vaccinology in the West after he inoculated a 13-year-old boy with the vaccinia virus, which is cowpox, and demonstrated immunity to smallpox, according to immune.org. So they've been around forever. The
Yeah,
problem
I
is,
remember because the I think milkmaids they were called, like
yeah,
the women that would milk the cow. They had not they almost had like blisters on their hands
right.
that
And
they
then
couldn't get sick from the cowpox.
they
They
demonstrated
wouldn't
immunity
get
to
sick.
smallpox because they already had cowpox, I think is what it was.
Yeah, so what he did was the doctor he would extract like the pus from the blisters, and
Right.
then he straight up just like injected it into the kid,
That just doesn't
and then
sound
put him in a room with a bunch of other people that had smallpox, and like after a few days, he was like, well, you don't got it, so
man's just chilling. I
there,
wonder
go
whose
on.
idea that was. Like, come on now. That doesn't sound smart. I mean, I guess it
But
worked.
I mean, you could always say that it was back then, but also like now it's not nowadays. But I know you could talk to your parents about it. But I know my old teacher, you know how with small chicken pox, you get it once, you
You
can't get
get it
it
once and you're
again.
done. Yeah.
Yeah. So my fifth grade teacher, her no, not fifth grade. One of my teachers, their her parents would when one kid in the neighborhood would get chicken pox,
Yeah,
they'd
yeah.
give it to all the
They
kids,
try and give it to everybody else so you have it in a relatively controlled environment.
a controlled area, so that they couldn't get it again.
Right. Which is kind of weird. I figured that a lot of viruses and diseases, bacterias as well, would kind of evolved past that maybe. But I guess it's kind of hard to
That's kind of like what the flu does. How you have
right
to get a flu shot every
a
year.
different
It's because it
strain.
mutates every year to different strain.
Right. Let's think of some good news, man. Come on. There's got to be something.
Well, speaking of good news, have you seen John Krasinski's Some Good News on YouTube?
I have not. Is what is that?
It's 13, it's like 13, 15 minutes, two episodes of just all the good news that's happened.
That's that's not a bad idea. Wow, he was in a lot
Yeah.
more movies than I thought. I thought he was
Yeah.
obviously he's known for The Office.
seen his role Jack Ryan on Amazon?
Yes, the Prime exclusive.
Yeah,
It's
have you
to be
seen
honest with
how do
you.
you think how do you think that version of Jack Ryan compares with like Harrison Ford and all
I'm
the
gonna be
other
honest.
ones?
I have not watched the older stuff with Harrison Ford, but that was like crap. Can you name some of the movies that was in the that arc or whatever?
Arc?
Yeah,
Um
like the
I
sequel.
know Hunt for Red October he wasn't in. That
He
wasn't
wasn't in
him.
that, right?
Um
It's a good movie.
that is. He was he in Patriot he might have been in Patriot Games, I think.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds right. Like I said, I don't know much about it, but yeah, I'll have to watch the old stuff. I got
Um
nothing but time now.
he was in Clear and Present Danger. That was Harrison Ford.
Right.
And
You
then
picked up any
Some
new
of All
skills?
Fears, I think.
You tried to learn any
Any
new
new
things?
what?
Picked up any new skills over break?
Any
Try
new
to learn
thing?
anything? Just laying in bed. It's weird. I've lost all perception of time at this point. I have no clue what day of the week it is. I'd be completely lost without a watch, to be honest with you.
I actually for a second I forgot it was Monday. I only remembered because I had class today.
Are you having a lot more classes than non-STEM kids because you're in STEM or what?
How many classes have you had?
I'm sorry.
How many classes have you had?
Uh, I haven't had a single mandatory one
I'm
yet.
definitely having them. They've been scheduling at least I have at least two classes a day for subjects,
Have fun with
but
that.
it it's been a learning curve. It's just weird because the teachers,
Teachers are just
the
as bad
curriculum
as we are.
curve for everyone of how to get used to it.
Right. I wonder if they're gonna try and keep this system in place or whatever. I'd be be worried about the future of our snow days. Everybody's capable of learning from home.
Oh yeah, no, they wouldn't do that for snow days. I don't think. I
I don't
wonder
think
though.
so.
Now that you bring that up, is have you heard? Has Hogan said anything about how they're categorizing this? Are we still supposed to get out June 13th or 15th?
To be honest with
Do you
you,
know?
I think it's probably school's gonna get canceled for the last year. I know. I don't think they made an official statement yet about what their current plan is. They're kind of waiting and seeing, but I don't think there's any way that they could make kids go back to school in the next few months. Because what we're in April now, start of April.
Yeah.
I mean, we got what May and June, 2.5 months maybe until school is scheduled to be out. I
Yeah, I
don't
know.
know
So
how you can make kids
for
go
us,
back.
we're supposed to be out of school till, as of now, April 24th.
24th, right?
And that week
So
we
yeah,
get back, there's 5 more weeks till we're supposed to get out.
we're
I think
scheduled to get out before this on June 14th or 15th, something like that.
that second or third week in June. I think I think this might be the last extension. If not this, I think it'll be like May 11th.
You
But
think
I
we're gonna
think that
be
we're
out
definitely
in
gonna.
May?
I think that's the latest. I think May 11th is gonna be the latest they're gonna push this cancellation to cancellation to, unless it gets like exponentially worse. I think that we should be back in school by mid-May.
Well, think about this though. We're seeing the number of new cases per day grow. That means we're not even halfway through, right? When do you think this whole thing started? Call it, I don't know, February, mid-February? That means that's what, half a month till March, and then all of March, and we're in April now. That means we got at least that much time until we're back to where we were. I don't, like I said, I
Yeah,
don't think that they're
I
gonna be
see
able
what
to
you
send us
mean.
back. Um, I think that would be reopening the country prematurely, to be honest with you. But obviously, I'm not
Yeah.
a health expert or anything.
I saw one. How you say you're not a health expert? Um, all the videos of like the Facebook and WhatsApp moms,
Oh
how they'll
God.
just randomly say a bunch of random facts. They'll just find off of some like Onion article or something.
Yeah. How does that work out? It's just I don't know. A lot of people have really bad information, and I bet you that's contributing to the spread of it. You go out in public, certain places you see everybody wearing a facial mask, but
Yeah. And
shit.
also, like, it was that initial fear, like, when people started, like, storming the, like, grocery stores
Yeah,
stores to grab toilet paper, toiletries, and all that.
toilet paper. The toilet
And I
paper
mean,
thing
like,
wouldn't have been a problem if we didn't make it a problem, by the way. I doubt that toilet paper like shortages would have happened unless everybody thought they were going to happen. Creating
yeah.
more problems.
Yeah, it was just the initial fear that everyone had towards it.
Most people haven't experienced this. Haven't experienced a pandemic like this ever.
Anything on this scale.
Right. I bet you
Wow.
I don't know. Because the world is much more connected, obviously, than back when the Spanish flu was a problem in 1920s.
Yeah.
But I'm not 100% sure how global of an issue that was too. I'm kind of worried because it leaves countries vulnerable to man-made problems too.
Yeah.
I wonder if wars will start happening more often and stuff like that. I obviously hope they don't,
Mhm.
but might be a
Yeah.
possibility.
Very depressing first episode, JB.
Let's switch it up to something else. How about our favorite topic, Mr. Elon Musk himself? How do you think that Cybertruck's gonna be, bud? That's old news, but still relevant, still cool.
It's relevant because I think I'm going to need it in a few months when we're living in Mad Max.
Gas prices are at like 185 now, bud. You think that a lot of Teslas are getting sold?
I mean, I'm going to buy my Tesla ventilator, obviously. Okay,
Yeah, I
the
wonder how
the
much
man
that's
has
replaced.
the man has range. Okay, he's now selling ventilators. It was like a year ago he was able to sell flamethrowers to people.
I'm
Okay,
so mad I didn't get a flamethrower. I'm so mad I didn't get a flamethrower.
and you can
You know
get
how
them
much
off
they go
eBay
for on
now for like
eBay?
3,000. They're like
Yeah,
three
I know
thousand
it's
dollars.
crazy. And it's literally just a roofing torch with something that says the Boring Company on it. The Boring Company, not a flamethrower. He never sold a flamethrower. What are you doing?
Yeah, wasn't it because it doesn't categorize as a flamethrower because its flame is under 3 feet, so
Yeah, I
it's a
think it was something
torch.
like that. Yeah,
But
and I
it's
think that
it's
you couldn't
genius.
legally ship anything called a flamethrower too, hence the
A
non-flammable
flamethrower.
aspect.
It's
It's
smart, work around the
just
problem.
so different than anybody else we've ever seen. And he's definitely got his haters, but his accomplishments are undeniable. He's got what? Tesla, obviously. Uh,
Tesla, SpaceX,
Tesla makes
boring.
luxurious electric cars with insane performance. SpaceX,
Yep.
probably the leading private company putting things in space. What
Only
else?
private company, I think.
I'm sorry. Say again.
I think aren't they only private company
Do you count like Boeing or Lockheed Martin or whatever as private?
or as
Because they're
like
government. They're government
government?
contractors. But
Yeah, they're government contract, but I don't like Boeing doesn't make the actual rocket, do they?
I'm not sure. I'll have to look into it. SpaceX sending stuff to space for
Well,
a lot cheaper than the U.S. government has been able to do it. Boring Company.
okay, this is one little thing. Is how there's been the argument to like raise NASA funding?
Yeah. It's been made a billion times.
NASA does deserve more funding, but I think that NASA should stop trying to build rockets and should become solely contract based.
You think that it's not worth?
I don't think it's worth it because okay, so this is more in like theoretical, but
Right.
right now SpaceX, the three like leading one is you have like Boeing with Lockheed Martin, you have SpaceX, and you have NASA, and
Right.
all three of them have
China and Russia.
and all three of them have vessels that they want to send to the moon and to Mars. And
NASA has the
Lockheed Martin,
SOS. SpaceX has Falcon Heavy, right? And what does
uh, BFR, that's SpaceX.
Oh, right. My bad.
Yeah,
Is it
it's the
called
one. It's
Starship
the
now?
Starship, and then I forget the name of I think
Origin.
it's Orion, I believe.
That's not a bad name, but BFR was
I
definitely
know,
better.
but
Changed it.
all I have to say is that they all three of them have the same basic principle in mind. Yet SpaceX, they're looking at theirs costing around 128 million,
Per
and NASA's costs and NASA yeah per launch 128 million, and NASA's is costing 5.4 billion.
I don't think that the government can do things as efficiently as private industry does, and I think we're seeing that
Of course they can't
with
because they have all the regulations they have to follow.
right. I what was that? They made a big
If
deal about Elon Musk going on Joe Rogan smoking weed a couple of almost a year ago, I guess now, right?
yeah
NASA did.
yeah
I don't understand what the big deal about that is. Um,
I mean like if you've ever tried to see a NASA space launch, they get canceled for almost anything. If the wind is blowing just a little bit too fast, like within margin, like it's within acceptable range, even if it's just a little bit too much on the high end, they'll scrub the entire thing.
which makes
And
sense though, because
it makes sense for
think
some of
about what
it.
you're trying to do.
But
You're trying to take a big tin can and send it to outer space off of the rock that humans have lived on forever since the beginning of humanity. It's it's definitely a momentous task, but a lot of the red tape can be
it
cut.
is, but I feel there's too much red tape, especially if all the other private companies didn't exist and it was only NASA, I would say, okay, it's fine. You can follow all of these regulations.
Right.
But since other companies are able to do the same thing and do it better, but don't have all the regulations, I feel if NASA wants to stay in the game, they need to, if they want to keep making rockets, they need to like start launching rockets, or they should just become like sole contractors.
Right. I don't think
Because
we
I
still have
feel,
the capability to get to the moon anymore, like via
no, we
NASA.
don't.
That's just like we
I
had
think
that back in
no,
the
no one
1970s.
does. I
Should
don't think
not be.
anyone has the capability to get there now.
And nobody cares. There's no money in it now. It's not us versus Russia to
Because
the moon anymore. It's just oh, let's go to the moon. It'd be cool. Well, think about what think about the private company's innovations. SpaceX is landing rocket boosters on a boat that drives itself in the middle of the ocean. That is crazy to think about. All the variables that can happen there, and what they're doing it consistently now, at least. Um, that's just
the what we need is really just another competition because competition drives innovation.
yeah, for sure. I
Like
think
the
that
60s and 70s, like us against Russia, like
USSR.
that
Yeah.
had huge support for NASA to get to the moon first. The whole space race, we need one of those again.
We need to, what we really need to do is we need to stop the fighting between countries because let's face it, it's relatively pointless. We all need to put down our guns and nukes, and we need to address real problems. We need to address climate change. We need to address the fact that we have no plan if anything goes wrong on the Earth. We're stuck here. We need to. I think that establishing a colony on Mars is probably really important for the success of
Hmm.
humanity. And also, it'd be pretty cool if I could go to space before I die. Not gonna lie to you.
Well, put the whole yeah, it's gonna save us in the long run. Put that all aside, bro. I want to see us go back to the moon and go to Mars in my lifetime, or else I'm gonna be really mad.
I was gonna say, you know how pissed I'd be if I couldn't go to Mars before I die. It'd suck.
I mean, Elon's gonna make it happen. I mean, he said he wants to die on Mars.
That's how you know he's committed, man. He wants to die. That's a big statement.
I think his full quote was, "I want to die on Mars, just not on impact."
He's a legend like that. He has a bunch of quotes like that too, doesn't he? Just crazy, wacky stuff.
Yeah, it's probably you can write a book about all the crazy stuff he said.
Yeah,
I
for
was
sure.
watching, I was rewatching a clip from his Joe Rogan interview, and I was scrolling
This
through
is such a
the
good one.
comments, and one of the top ones was like, "I love how Elon Musk looks like he's from the future, and every time he says something, he has to like think about it so he doesn't spoil something from the future and like disrupt the whole space time continuum."
It's it's like all the memes about time travelers coming back. Which World War is this? 1, 2, or
Yeah.
3? Like that. We probably live in a simulation at this point. I'm not even too worried about it.
Remember before 2020 happened, everyone was making all like the memes about how 2020 is gonna be awful. And I distinctly remember there being one that said 2020 is gonna be great. And it's like me realizing there was a major plague in 1920 and 1820.
Yeah, the 20s have always been bad though. 1820 was Civil War, I believe. 1920.
Oh, no, 1820, no, Civil War is the late 1800s.
I don't even know anymore, dude. Like I said, no concept of time. 1720s was French and Indian War was happening or starting to happen. I don't even know anymore. And obviously, we're living through 2020 right now, and it's not looking too great for us.
Let's see. Let's do a quick little recap of the year. Let's see.
Mhm.
We started with almost a world war, and then
Yep, Kobe died, which rest in peace.
yeah, the big thing that was February.
Uh, and now we're in the middle of a global pandemic with 100 cases or a million. There's a big difference between 100 and a million, dude. I need some sleep or something. A million cases worldwide. Not looking too bright. We'll get through it though.
Nope. Yeah,
There's got to be some positive. I think that people are gonna stop taking things for granted. That's the hope. Because to be honest with you, school wasn't that bad. We all complained about it a lot, but now that we're all stuck inside our homes, it's better than the alternative.
I'm thinking like we're only halfway through this quarantine,
But it's gonna get worse
the
and
school
worse.
one, because we've been out for 3 weeks, and we have three weeks left.
Yep. That's if they don't extend it, which, like I said, I have a feeling they will. I wonder how tech companies are going to respond to this because obviously the internet's being taxed more and more, but there's a higher demand for technology, laptops, phones, computers, um, whether it be just for the heck of it or to participate in online schools. So I bet prices for those are gonna either gonna go up if the supply stays the same, or they're gonna go down as it becomes more available and competition increases.
And also like how um like AP testing and SATs, they're
That's
all have to
I
be online
forgot
now.
about that. I don't even know how. Yeah, there's a lot of problems with online testing. Could probably name quite a few people that will be cheating their asses off as online schools.
What the Google's my open note.
Google's your openness.
Yeah.
You're a STEM student, Jack. You would never. How do you like STEM? For those that don't know, our high school
It's
has a magnet program called STEM, and it's just I'm not in it. Jack is. He'll explain.
um it's good.
Very guarded tone that you
I
have.
don't know if the learning not experience, but like
Is it worth it?
it's definitely different.
Is the extra work
Yeah.
worth
Yeah,
the?
it's definitely worth it.
You
Um
think?
I do. Especially because like what choice did you have for like were you given computer science as a choice this year or no?
Yes. Yeah, we had the option to
You
take it and
were?
become sci. Yep. I think that
Definitely
we
think
had
it's
all of the options that you did, except for
science, right? System science?
yeah. We didn't have the option for that, and
Yeah.
you're taking government this year, right? I don't think we had the option to do that.
Alright. Oh, yeah, we talked about that, yesterday during online class. I definitely do think it's worth it. Um,
Just extra opportunities, extra
the extra
classes, or what?
the opportunities you get from it, as well as um, just the different learning. I almost want to go as far as saying like the smaller class size.
Some classes are smaller. How many people do you have in your class? Do you think
In some
average?
of my classes, I have like 20 kids or less than 20 kids in
Oh
them.
damn. Yeah, I'm looking
Yeah,
at least
and
20
it
plus.
definitely makes a difference. Yeah, I definitely do think it's worth it at least to check out or to do any magnet program. I know the biomedical one at Glen Burnie. I've heard some good things about it.
Glenbury's not a very good place to be, considering somebody just got stabbed. A student did. To be honest with you, I think that this whole coronavirus saved us from getting nests taken away. At our school, we have our lunch block is combined with I guess advisory would be the equivalent, and
Yeah,
it's basically a
yeah,
like
because they were threatening to take it away like the day we that Friday when they announced we were off.
yep, yeah, because they had drawn up the 4 block schedule or whatever.
Yeah.
That would suck so much if that actually
You know
happened.
what? Screw it, bro. This quarantine's awesome. Heck yeah.
It's going to bail this out.
We don't have to worry about that till next year.
Which do you know which class, whether it was freshmen, sophomores, juniors, or seniors, that was getting in all these fights?
Uh, uh yeah, freshman, sophomore, I think, were most of them.
Oh, so the problem will follow us next year. That's great.
Okay, let's see. Any other good news we have?
There's not much in the news, period, other than the coronavirus. Let me take a quick look at Google now.
We're gonna spitball some things of for future episodes. So we're gonna try to get out an episode a week. That's what we're gonna
Episode week.
ballpark for.
Uh,
Episode a week.
it'll be
This is the
voice. It'll
first,
be
so it's a little
audio only.
scuffed.
It'll be audio only until we are
We're
allowed outside of our houses here in Maryland. But we'll hope to do face to face or video conferencing once we can get jobs and make money to buy nice cameras.
So the schedule we're looking at is, as JB said, once a week. These first 3 weeks, you're just gonna have to be with us audio only and a little bit scuffed because we got to get better mics. But then we're looking once we get out, we're gonna do face to face things. We're gonna be adding probably some segments in. We might have some call-ins so people can reach out, ask us questions, or just be on the show. And yeah, we're looking forward. We've been talking about this for a long time now, and
Yeah,
it's
we tried to
fun to
get
see
this
that.
going a couple months ago, right? I guess we
Yeah,
both do spring sports. You do sailing, and I do lacrosse. I guess that ramped up and got in the way. Sailing's a sailing's an interesting sport, but gotta get that 3 speed somehow. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Sure, you never heard any of this.
yeah. So just deal with us for the first few weeks while we get settled down, and then we're gonna once we're hopefully this quarantine ends, we're gonna definitely ramp up quality of the videos and audio as well as production and just make it more fun, add more segments.
Yep. You want to start wrapping it up? I think we're good. All right. So
Thank you
we're on
for
Twitter and
listening to
Instagram
us.
at Eastside Sauce on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you for listening to the first episode. Like Jack said, subscribe for the next one.
Thank you. Be good people.
Yeah, stay at home. Don't be an idiot.